Welcome to the Use Your Inside Voice podcast. I'm Heather Dawn. Let's kick it off with a dance party. Okay, welcome everyone back to Use Your Inside Voice, the podcast. I'm very excited about today's episode. This is my friend, my new friend, and a wonderful transformational coach, an international speaker, a storyteller. She's a mental health and wellness and resilience advocate. And her essays, she's a brilliant writer. Her essays have appeared in national publications. And this is Michele Capots, Michele with one L, Capots. And I'm very excited to have you on, Michele.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I feel like today's topic is super, super important to discuss. And I can't wait to get into some questions. And one of the first questions that I want to ask you is, how do you use your inside voice, Michele?
So, you and I were talking for a second before we started, and it's really interesting because when I hear use your inside voice, it makes me think of staying quiet or not speaking your truth. So, my immediate answer to that is I don't use my inside voice. Um, I have learned over the years to amplify that voice. And I think when it comes to mental wellness, especially, I'm very loud about it.
Mm,
I believe strongly in mental wellness. But so when you say your inside voice, I think that what I hear is not being your authentic self.
mm,
That's where my head goes when I hear use your inside voice.
interesting. Everyone has a different interpretation, and that's kind of why I love the title of this podcast. For me, using my inside voice was about tapping into what was inside
Mm,
and using it for good. Whereas the origin of the podcast came from me being told as a little girl to use my inside voice, meaning be quiet. So you're not wrong in that you hear it as keep quiet. It's a double meaning. So it's like,
absolutely.
yeah. So for you to recognize that, like, your inside voice has something important to share, that's a purpose, there's a value there, and you quote unquote don't use it because you're supposed to be, that it means be quiet, and you saying that you've learned how to amplify or turn up the volume on that, I think is beautiful. And you do shout from the rooftops about mental wellness, and we need more of that. We definitely need more of that in this world. There's a lot of people out there that are having a tough time. And it's people like you who advocate, who speak about it, who write about it, who coach about it, that are making a huge, huge difference in this world. So this brings me to another question. Um, Talk to us about what the difference is between mental mental health, mental illness, excuse me, mental illness and mental wellness. What's the
Well,
difference?
there's, I think there's a big difference between mental health and mental wellness. The one thing I like to say about mental illness, and I am a person with lived experience in mental illness, but the one thing I say in the talks that I give, and I can't take credit for this, I don't think I came up with it, but I love it and it rings true, is that there's an I in illness. When you talk about mental illness, and this is true for any illness. When you talk about illness, there's an I in illness, but there's a we in wellness. We get better together. But the difference between mental health and mental wellness, and I think a lot of times those words get thrown together and they're used interchangeably.
Mm,
But in my experience, mental health involves a diagnosis. It may involve medication or doctors, therapy. But mental wellness is the journey. It's an active, lifelong process that helps us build resilience and grow. You
mm,
don't have to have a mental health challenge to strive for mental wellness. For
mm.
some, it's just eating right or getting enough sleep, meditation. But it's even more than that for me. It's a complete alignment of the body and mind. It's the whole person. And that's the difference I see between the two.
Okay, I want to go back and just highlight because I love what you said. I love that you said when you talk about mental illness or any illness, really, that there's an I in illness. And when you're talking about mental wellness or wellness in general, there's a we in wellness. And that the I is all about like it's a very self-absorbed ill, it's an alone place to be. And wellness is in community. Wellness is in partnership. Wellness is a we situation. We get better together. And I love that. I am a huge advocate for community when you're seeking wellness of any kind, um, healing of any kind. It happens best, in my opinion, um, in community. So I'd love to talk to you about what does community look like for um, for those that maybe are struggling with some mental illness um, or have some mental health challenges? Like what types of communities are out there that you're connected to or that you would highly recommend to help get somebody in their best possible setup for success, for wellness?
I think I think a couple things. When it comes to illness, and again, that can be mental illness, that can be any illness, but specifically when we're talking about mental health struggles, that I is the isolation. With
Mhm.
depression, it's so easy to want to isolate, or anything else for that matter. When you're going through something, you feel like you're the only person that is going through it. And it's easier to kind of, at least in my experience and in some of the coaching clients I've had, that it's easier to say, I got this. I can do this. I got this.
Mm,
Um, and that's where the we come in. But it doesn't even have to be a community. Two people together is a community. And
yeah.
what I have found is when we share our story with someone else, whatever that is, when we have the courage to share with someone else where we are and where we've been, it cuts that pain in half. It lessens it. As
Mm,
soon as we speak it, it starts to decrease.
mm,
So it doesn't have to be joining a support group or and that can be helpful.
right.
I'm not saying that's not helpful, but community can mean a lot of different things. It could be going to a yoga class. It could be going to a meditation class, or it can just be finding a really good friend, or maybe it's not even a friend.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier to share with someone that doesn't know you.
Mm,
Um, But that can be starting a community. It doesn't have to be a group of people. Being sharing with one other person can start that community.
Yeah, that's a brave, bold move to make too when you're in that isolation space to, reach out to find one person or to find one activity. Gosh, there's countless stories of people making those brave, courageous moves. I would love to have you share a little bit of your story if you feel like you're in a space where you can kind of tell the listeners because your story is incredible.
Sure.
And it's a perfect segue because you just said that, when you share your story, it cuts the pain in half. So um, please share with the
Okay.
listeners.
So my story, um, my story began in my early 30s. I had just overcome a clinical depression that had me suicidal, but I felt like I was back on track. I was working at a national magazine. I had just moved in with my boyfriend and we were talking about marriage. I was checking off the boxes in my head. I felt like my life was taking off. But on one summer day, I was discovered disoriented, hitchhiking on the side of the Route 68 interstate in West Virginia with Tasmanian devil boxer shorts on, a t-shirt ripped all the way up to my left breast, exposing my breast. I was barefoot and my dog was beside me who wasn't on a leash. And in that moment, I decided to do something that I'd only seen work in the movies, and I stuck out my thumb,
Mm,
but no one would stop.
mm,
And have you ever gone down to a place you've never been before?
mm,
Down to a place of despair or down to a place of shame?
mm,
I did that. And luckily, my guardian angels were with me that day because I was picked up by a fire truck and taken to the psych ward. And that's where my healing started to begin. First, it was a crawl, and that's all I was capable of. Then it became a walk, and what felt like years later, but it was only two, it became a run. And when you talk about that voice, now what was shame, I stand proud and tall
yeah.
because what that experience taught me is just how very resilient I am.
Mm,
And it was that story that ignited in me passion and a mission to want to help others discover that resilience in their own life. And let me preface, I'm not a mental health coach, I'm a mental wellness coach. So I don't, it's the healing that it's that resilience and getting that resilience and moving from that space of where you can go from here that I'm
mm.
so passionate about helping others with.
Yeah, because when you've hit rock bottom yourself, and the only thing you can do is look up and find your way up. I'm sure there were people in along your path that helped that you looked up and they reached down and helped you climb your way out of that crawl, walk, run, you know. And so of course you're going to want to use that lived experience to help others. That's incredible. So on a day-to-day basis, you are you are coaching others on mental wellness and teaching them the tools that you've learned and that you used to get yourself from where you were, which is, it's an incredible story. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and for sharing that, to where you are now. What a powerful story.
It's really interesting because when I was going through that, so um, when all of that happened, I ended up losing my job. And with it went my belief in myself as a writer, as a partner, and a
Mm,
person. But there was someone in my life who became my mentor, who taught me the power of an old war saying, which is run toward the sound of the cannon.
mm,
And I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know why she kept saying it. Um, but over time and over the years, it started to be about acceptance for me, accepting my illness and accepting where I was. That woman is still in my life,
mm,
and she still says that on a regular basis. And I've adopted it, and it's become to mean something completely different to me today,
mm.
which, and let me back up. What it means is have the courage to run towards your fears and the very things that are holding you back as a way to be free.
Okay.
So
Powerful.
today, what that means to me is having the courage to continue to look within, to peel those layers back. And that's what I love helping people with, is their ability to discover who they are meant to be or
Mm.
what it is they're meant to be doing in this world. Because in my experience, self stigma kept me in the same place for entirely too long.
Yes. Okay. I want to unpack a little bit what you just said because I was over here having some epiphanies, and I want to see if I can connect some dots. First, you said that run towards the sound of the cannon was symbolic of running head first towards your fears, towards the thing that you think is going to destroy you. Essentially, the cannon is going to, you're running into war zone, right? Like, who would do that? um, but now it means to you, continue to go to dive deep inward and peel those layers and search for the answers within. And here's my connect. Let's see if I can do this. um, it's also been my experience as I've been on a healing journey that in the beginning of the healing journey, and I really think listeners that this is probably true for most people that start a journey. So if you're at the beginning of your journey and this is you and it resonates, then stick around. In the beginning, the idea of even like lifting the curtain a little bit on what might possibly be behind the curtain is terrifying, and it's about as scary as running directly into the war zone, the cannon, like running head into your fears. Like, I think fear is the first barrier to healing. And what I've learned is that you don't die when you sort of conquer that fear and you uncover something. It's like, oh, actually that did hurt a little bit. Like that was painful, but now I feel a little bit better, even though it was painful to sort of uncover that. It is also somewhat relieving. And the more healing you do, and the more willingness that you have to run towards the cannon, to run towards those fears, soon you are no longer afraid of what you're going to find. And it becomes more about what you're doing now, Michele, which is going inward, digging deeper, because you've learned, and I've learned, and anyone that's been on a healing journey for a while has learned that all the good stuff is inside, and that you have to dig and excavate and pull weeds and get down there in order to find the good stuff. And it's not scary anymore. It in fact is, it's the beautiful part of transformation. And that I don't know. I hope I connected the dots because I feel like I did. It's not scary to go inward anymore. It's almost exciting in a way. It's still going to hurt. There's still you you are required to feel your feelings when you are doing this transformational work. It is a requirement. So and that I think is the beginning part, because fear keeps us from wanting to feel all the stuff that we've been suppressing and that we've been afraid, if we open up this box, what's going to happen? What's going to come out? Like Pandora's box, so to speak. I don't know if I have the capacity to handle all my big emotions, right? And by continuing to run towards the cannon and by continuing to face your fears, you start building capacity. And pretty soon, you're no longer looking outward for answers, you're looking inward for answers.
I think that what's interesting is most of my clients, a lot of my clients that I work with are stuck for one reason or another. Maybe it's preventing them from getting to their next level. Maybe they're stuck in a relationship, they're stuck in a job, they're stuck in their comfort zone, or they know they're not showing up in the world the way
Mm,
they're supposed to. So in that situation, you can turn to outside things to try to make it better. Maybe
mm,
you try exercise
mhm,
or you
mhm.
try these different things. But what I do and what I like to work with clients is going to the root.
Yeah.
So you're changing that on a cellular level. So it opens the aperture and opens you up so you can take that step and you can get to where it is you're meant to be when maybe you've been stuck for a year, 2 years, and you're not going anywhere. But having the courage to look within is going to that root. And also, it's work that never ends. It's work
Mm,
that never ends for me. It's not like you have this transformative journey and
right.
then boom, you're healed and etc. There's
You're
always
healed.
more work to do. It's evolving. There's
Yeah.
always work that I am doing. We're always evolving.
Yes.
But um that's what it means to me now in my own life,
Hmm.
is having the courage to continue to look within. So when I continue to do my own work, which I do, I can be better for my clients because I've done my own work and I'm holding a
Right.
clear space.
Right. Oh, and listen, who would want a transformational coach that hasn't had transformation of their own? Who would want a mental wellness coach that didn't have a mental illness to wellness journey? Like, you're informed on the very thing that many people out there are looking for assistance with and support with. So, it's beautiful. And you've turned your pain into purpose. You've turned your you've alchemized your situation to the benefit of so many people out in the world, and it's really beautiful. um I want to ask you, because we've talked a lot about courage, right? That it takes courage to take those steps. How do you coach someone to tap into that courage? If someone is
I
stuck, what's the process look like?
there's I do a lot of different work. I do awareness, acceptance, and aligned action. And some of the work I do is mindset, some is unconscious, some is somatic. But the biggest thing I can say to that is I can't I can't coach you on anything that's not already inside you.
Mm,
I can just remove it out of your way, but you already have it. The person already has everything they need to know inside them.
mm,
I can just help to clear the path a little bit
mhm,
so it can come out more fully.
mhm. And as with most situations, whether it's a mental health situation or just a relationship situation or whatever, most of the time someone just wants to talk about it. And they just want to be heard. They want to be heard, they want to be seen. And being able to verbalize whatever it is that they're challenged with builds capacity around it, and it creates that's a courageous move to share. And as a coach, I think one of the biggest jobs we have as coaches is to be an active listener and to provide a safe space for people to share. And so if there's a listener out there who's thinking, I don't know how I'm going to handle whatever this thing is that you're going through, get a coach. Get a coach. Maybe you don't want, not that I'm not advocating for therapy, because therapy is important too, but sometimes a therapist will handle things one way and a coach will handle things completely different. And you've got to do what's going to work for you. And I'm a huge advocate for coaching. I think um, there's it's a unique way to navigate through some challenges.
I think that a lot of people don't know what coaching is. There's a big difference between coaching and therapy. And I think that therapy is spends a lot of time looking at the past in order to heal. It looks backwards. As a coach, we also can look backward for a minute, but we only use it to propel us forward. So coaching is forward focused. It's forward toward your goals, while therapy tends to look back. And for some people need a therapist. And
Mhm.
if you're in the middle of a mental health crisis or a mental health struggle, I encourage you to go to therapy.
Yeah.
You're ready to focus on your goals and look at what comes next. Where can I go now? That's where coaching is
Yes.
really advantageous.
Coaching is about activation and kind of moving the needle forward. I think that's exactly right. And and therapy is about uncovering what were the root causes of some of the things that are going on in your life and looking back and delving into that. And
We look back as coaches, we do go to the root, we do, but we don't stay there.
yes,
We go, we touch it, and then
yes,
we use it to propel us forward.
yes. Incredible. Incredible. Mm. So Michelle, um, if you were to give listeners one of your hottest tips for mental wellness, what would that be?
So my favorite thing, which anyone can do, is catch it, check it, change it. Kind of catchy. Catch it,
Yeah,
check it, change it.
say that 5 times fast.
So I think the research shows we think something like 60,000 thoughts a day, and 75% of those are negative and 95% are repetitive. If 75% is repetitive, it can be so easy to latch on to a thought without even realizing we're doing it.
Mm,
We can subconsciously just grab the thought and run with it. So the first step is to catch it. to be aware of what we're thinking. So catch that thought.
Okay.
The second is to check it. So ask yourself, can I know without a shadow of a doubt that what I'm believing right now in this moment is indeed true? Yes or no? Not no, but I think that, or yes, but yes or no.
I know.
Ask yourself if what you're thinking, you know, without a shadow of a doubt is true.
Mhm.
And then the third step, well, 9 times out of 10, that answer is going to be no, which makes the third step letting that thought go, changing it. It's
Mm,
more than replacing it with a different thought. Maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's an affirmation, or maybe it's something. Once you let it go, it's easier to just think the next thought. Obviously, this takes practice. It's not as though your thought's going to come, you're going to grab it, you're going to check it, and you're going to change it. But the more you practice and the more you build stamina against that, the easier it is in the moment to do that on a subconscious basis of catching it, checking it, and
mm,
changing it.
mm. I love that. Can we role play a thought? Can we do that? So let's say that I have a thought that I'm not worthy of the friends that I have in my life. Okay.
Okay.
So catching it would be like, ooh, that's a negative, icky thought. Okay, I caught it, right? So now I ask myself, is it absolutely 100% true without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not worthy of the friends that I have in my life? Do I have to find evidence of that? Or do I just,
Well, so what would? I mean, that would be so if you were to say, and it's individual for each person, whatever
sure.
that thought is. So if you were to say, can I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not worthy of having the friends in my life? If you answer that yes, then yes, explore that. But 9 times out of 10, you're going
Yeah,
to say, can you know without a shadow of a doubt that what you're believing in this moment is true?
it's going to be a no most of the time, right?
And when you're asking yourself that, it's going to be no. And when
Yeah.
you let it go, when you realize that, it's easier to let it go and change it. If the answer is yes, and you are saying that, well, I think that's true, then absolutely talk with someone. Then
Mm,
bounce that off someone. Don't keep that to yourself. Come up with examples, talk it out with someone,
mm-hmm,
whether that's a therapist, whether a coach, whether a
mm-hmm.
friend. Don't keep that thought to yourself.
Yeah.
But commits to answering the catch it 100% honestly. So
Yes.
you are
Okay.
asking yourself with 100% honesty, can I know that this is true without a shadow of a doubt in this moment?
Okay. And with the answer being no, then it's changed the thought. So it's like a reframe or it's you know, what would be an
Replace it,
example? What's that? Release it?
replace it,
Replace it. Okay.
replace it, replace it. So what would you replace? Well, come up with a thought right now for you that you're thinking about in your own life. Come up with
Okay. Well,
a
I mean,
thought.
I notice how I went for one that wasn't exactly probably, that's the easy low hanging and not true fruit. Um,
Do it with yourself with a thought. Is there a thought that's nagging at you that
hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, well, let's finish out, let's reframe, the one that we started with. Like, I'm
okay,
not worthy of the friends that I have, right? So
okay,
changing it or reframing it would be, um, I'm worthy of the friends that I have, and I could also be a better friend to them. Is that kind of what, like, because I would think that that thought or that statement would come from sort of being self-critical of what kind of a friend I am to my friends. And that would be why I might think I'm not worthy of those friends, right? To have those.
That would be, and again, it's unique for every person.
Hmm.
So it's whatever nagging thought is going on in
Hmm.
your head. If it's that thought, and am I unworthy of my friends? No, I know without a shadow of a doubt I am worthy of my friends.
Hmm.
So instead, replace it with I am a good friend. I
Yes.
am a good friend. I treat my friends well. My friends treat me well. My
Hmm.
friends like me.
Hmm.
um, any one of those thoughts is going to change the trajectory of where you were going.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Now that's what a great tool to use. And I can also see how it would take a lot of practice, especially for someone who is very used to saying unkind things to themselves, right? It's like, okay, it's hard to switch it to nice things. And especially when maybe you don't believe those things about yourself.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I had a conversation with my mom even the other day where, she said something and I was like, Mom, no. Like that's not true about you. And she was like, I think it is, And so there's work when we get stuck in sort of being critical of ourselves, there's work to do. I love that. So catch it, check it, change it. So catch the thought, ask yourself, is this 100% absolutely true what I said
In this moment,
in this moment? And 99% of the time you said the answer is going to be no to that. So great. But if it is yes, it is true in this moment, then it's time to reach out and talk to somebody about it. Yeah. And get some assistance on that. That's really good. It's a great tool. My goodness. I feel like we've covered a lot. Uh, is there any, are there any other fabulous nuggets that you can think of that you want to share with the listeners? How can a listener get in touch with you if they have, um, if they've got, if they have a desire to get some coaching or to participate in anything that you're offering? What's coming up for you?
so actually, a couple things. I just started Substack. And for those of you that don't know, a Substack is kind of like a newsletter. It's another online platform. And there's paid and free subscriptions. Mine are all free through the end of the year. And it's Mental Wellbeing with Michelle. So
Mm,
if you search my name or search um, Michele Capots or Mental Wellbeing with Michelle, every Wednesday I post a question. So every Wednesday I post a question and share how I grew into the answer, what I learned from the question and my thought process of how I moved through it. But I don't see this space as a monologue, but a dialogue. So I
mm,
ask questions to engage in the comments, engage with myself and each other in this space. So I only have a few published. I just started. So I'd love to have new subscribers. So my Substack is one way. My website is another one, michellecapots.com.
okay.
Again, I'm a 1L Michelle, pet peeve.
Yes.
And my Instagram is michellecapots.com, but Michele Capots, DOTCOM. So it's all spelled out one word. And
Okay.
that's really the most place I'm active on social media is Instagram.
Okay. Wonderful. Um, That's amazing. And so subscribers, they can get on this this Substack that you have and follow you on your socials. I think that's amazing. Michele, thank you so much for your time and for all of the wisdom and lived experience and knowledge that you shared with us and your expertise. Um, I think you might also be working on a book project that, yes.
I am. I am. I'm working right now on a book proposal, and the working title is actually Run Toward the Sound of the Cannon.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Maybe that was a spoiler alert um, however, she's a beautiful writer. And so we will hold our breath, and wait for the Run for the Sound of the Cannon book, which I think is a little bit of a memoir. And so it'll be a great read. And I just want to tell you again, thank you, Michele, and just remind listeners that there's an I in illness and a we in wellness, and that if you are struggling with any type of illness, whether it's mental or relational or any type of illness, that I encourage you to find the we, whatever that is for you, and get the wellness that you need through community of one other or through community of many others. There's a lot of resources out there. So and certainly access Michele's, all of her socials and her all of the things that she mentioned. We'll put them in the show notes, so that you can use her as a resource as well. All right. Thank you, listeners, and thank you, Michele.
Thank you for having me. It's been
Yes,
fun.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Use Your Inside Voice podcast. I'm Heather Dawn. We'll see you next Friday and every Friday after that.